to our final speaker tonight. Did someone say ah? Isn't this amazing? It's been an amazing night, right? We're not going to forget this anytime soon. Minister Mitzie Hunter. It has a ring to it, doesn't it? So I'll say it again. Minister Mitzie Hunter. Associate Minister of Finance. Mitzie was first elected to the Ontario Legislature in a by-election in August of 2013. Then, following her re-election in June of 2014, she was appointed to Cabinet by Premier Kathleen Wynne. Hunter and her family immigrated to Canada from Jamaica in 1975, and I'm sure they are so proud. And she's a Scarborough girl. Good stock. Please welcome, everyone, Minister Mitzie Hunter.
Thank you, Marcy, and good evening, everyone. It's really quite awesome being in this room, and it's a little overwhelming. I've had tears in my eyes since the video clip of Viola Desmond. And I just want to clarify one point that Marcy said. You know, I was elected in the by-election in August 2013, but it was August 1st, 2013. And the awareness was not lost on me that it was Emancipation Day. And Tiffany, I'm the only Black woman in the provincial legislature. There are 2 Black men. One is Jamaican and one is Grenadian. I'm so happy to be here tonight to celebrate Black women, and I want to thank Historica Canada for recognizing that this voice, this story of Canada needs to be told. And it's so important, it's so critical. Candace, I went to South Africa for the first time in 2015. And it was an incredible experience, but one of the most moving moments for me was when I met a young woman, and she was everything. She was just incredibly intelligent, and I remember speaking to her and trying to understand what motivated her, and she said to me, "I am the born free." And I didn't know what that meant. So I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, those of us who were born 25 years ago, after apartheid ended, consider ourselves the born free. And I remember walking away from her and really turning that over in my mind, because I said, well, that's me. I am born free. And most of us in this room, not all of us, but most of us are born free. Because we are in an environment where, in terms of the laws, are not there to prevent us from aspiring to be who we want to be. So my question is, what's stopping us? What's holding us back? And I really want to commend the speakers who shared their stories tonight and encouraged us to walk through, to walk beside, to take the chance. And my mother, the woman who mothered me, Yvonne Hunter, she has set a standard for her children and I have yet to meet mine. Every time I come home with an achievement, she tells me I can do more. I can be more. And she expects that of us. In 2015, the United Nations declared the International Decade for the People of African Descent. And the objective of the decade is so that Black people across Africa and the diaspora can have every opportunity to fully participate in society and to be who they were created to be. That is the goal and the focus of the decade. And I took part in a gathering with Black elected leaders in Canada, in Birchtown, Nova Scotia. And it was a powerful experience for me because we were there to honor and to recognize the Black loyalists, those Black people who came here to Canada in the 1700s and really are part of building this country and the freedoms that we enjoy today. And those stories need to be told. There's a rich tradition in this country and around the world of inspirational Black women. And I think that the fact that we're here in this room, all of us laughing and connecting and joking and speaking, what unifies us is the language, and it's the story. So I want to focus on someone who has inspired me, and her name is Louise Bennett Coverley. Or simply put, Miss Lou. Like myself, Miss Lou was born in Jamaica. She spent the last 20 years of her life right here in Toronto. In my mind, she is the most important modern female figure in the promotion of Jamaican language and culture right across the world. She was born on September 7th, 1919. She grew up in a time and a place where she was taught to forget her culture and her history. When I was a child, she once said, nearly everything about us was bad, you know? They would tell you, say, you have bad here, that Black people bad, and that the language you talk was bad. And I know that a lot of people I knew were not bad at all. They were nice people, and they talked this language. But Miss Lou always questioned this challenge. She challenged the idea that her culture was to be frowned upon, and there was only one way to speak, one way to write, and her writings reflected this. In Banza Killin', one of her most famous poems, she says, "So, Debbie, I might need your help, you know. So, you're the man me hear about. Are you them say they take whole heap of English out? Say that you're going to kill the dialect. Let me get it straight, Master Charlie. For now, me no quite understand. You going to kill all of the English dialect or just Jamaica one? If you the equal up with English language, then make we. You're going to feel inferior when it comes to dialect. This poem goes on to unpack the hypocrisy of criticizing the Jamaican dialect when English itself was evolved over hundreds of years into a language of dialects. Miss Lou became famous for her elegant, engaging use of Jamaican Creole, or patois, her dramatic monologues, and her ridicule of prejudice. She was a true pioneer. Miss Lou was the first Black student to study at the prestigious Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, after being awarded a British Council scholarship. She would go on to work for the BBC, gaining a program of her own. She traveled around the United States and Jamaica. She studied and lectured about Jamaican history and folklore. She later received an Order of Jamaica, an Order of Merit, an honorary degree from York University, amongst others. The Jamaican government appointed her a cultural ambassador at large. Here in Toronto, the Harbourfront Centre has honored her and created a room bearing her name, the Miss Lou Room, with a permanent exhibit displaying her work and achievements, and with space for the creative expression of new artists and storytellers. Why is this important? When slaves were first brought over from Africa to the Caribbean, they brought with them tales of a mystical spider, Anansi. Africans who were brought to the Americas spent hundreds of years learning how to cope with being oppressed, and through these stories, help paint the narrative of social conflict and chart a new hope for an eventual freedom. The historical role of these stories helps us recognize the depth and the power of storytelling and how we can use our stories to liberate ourselves. I had the opportunity to attend one of Miss Lou's last readings in 2006 at a brunch put on by the alumni group for Immaculate Conception High School. And she recited some of these Anansi stories. Hearing the beauty, the power, the rhythm in her voice as she spoke, it really stuck with me. And in no small part, it's played a role for me as a politician in my commitment to literacy in my riding of Scarborough-Guildwood, where some of the children are far below the average in Toronto. We stand here today on the shoulders of giant women like Miss Lou, Viola Desmond, and all the mothers and grandmothers that we talked about. We honor their sacrifices that they made. And if there's one lesson Miss Lou has taught us, it's the power of the written and the spoken word. We must continue to share our stories. In this spirit, the greatest gift we can give a child is the ability to read. It's one of the keys to success in life. No matter where she went or where she lived, Miss Lou always remembered where she came from. In her words, any which part me live, Toronto, London, Florida, at Jamaica me there. For all of this, for her strength, her determination, her self-expression, her sense of history, and her willingness to stand up for her beliefs and to be proud of where she came from. Miss Lou has been an inspiration. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Walk good.